reconvene here. We are back at 7:30. Next item on the agenda is presentations, certificates of election, and the oaths of office to the re-elected officials. So I will start, and I'm going to swear in Clint. Mr. Bouchon. Okay, raise your right hand. Okay, I, Bouchon, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of town councilman of Lakewood Village of the state of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States, the state of Texas, and the town of Lakewood Village, so help me God. Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations.
Good job. Clint, very good, sir. All right, next to receive the oath will be Mr. Bissonette.
Raise your right hand. I state your name. Matthew Bissonette. Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of town councilman for the town of Lakewood Village of the state of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States, state of Texas, and the town of Lakewood Village. So help me God. Congratulations.
All right, next up, we have Mr. Farrar being sworn in by Ms. Lovely.
Please raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Eric Farrar,
Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the
town councilman
for the town of Lakewood Village
of
of the state of Texas, and I will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States, the state of Texas, and the town of Lakewood Village. So help me God. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Eric.
All right, way to go. All right, everybody's sworn in. Very good. All right, next up, we have, where am I? Next up, we have Visitor Citizens Forum. This time, any person with business before the council not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the council. Council may not comment or debate on such statements during this period. So, Linda, has anyone signed up to speak?
Mr. Eric Contract.
All right, Mr. Eric has signed up. You muted?
No, we're good.
Okay. All right, Eric, you there?
Yeah, you got me?
Okay, go ahead.
All right, 1 second. Okay, Eric Hancock, 8249 Tremont Place, Frisco, Texas, 75034. 1/3 owner, 20 plus or minus acres at the front of town. I want to continue to shed light tonight on corruption in Lakewood Village during this Visitor Citizens Forum, like I began in the last council meeting's Visitor Citizens Forum. But first I want to say I don't like troublemakers and I don't like to quarrel, but I will stand up to troublemakers, and if speaking here in this little podcast, if you will, each month about some dark areas within Lakewood Village are a means to that end, then I would like to do that here and let the pieces fall where they may. So with no further ado, several years ago, a bright woman was elected to the Lakewood Village Council. Her name was Liz Shields. Back then, she relayed a story to me that I hope she won't mind me sharing now, as it spotlights the bullseye basis of Lakewood Village's corruption. She said she remembered well being told after she was elected to council, and as she was given the keys to Linda's office, which is also the records room, that she could research or review anything. That is easy to say, Mayor Mark, when you don't think anyone will take you up on it. So let me say again, Liz was given the keys to Linda's office, the records room, like if it was locked, she could open it up. One day, some glaring and large budget numbers didn't add up to Liz, so she went to investigate receipts on a Saturday night, only to find that she couldn't get in, and the alarm code was changed without her being told. So she went to the next council meeting very early so she could ask Linda if she had changed her keys to the office. Liz said with her head down and unable to look at her in the face, Linda said per Mayor Mark, only check signers would get keys to the office, and she would have to speak to him. Mark was there, so Liz asked Mark. I thought all council members could research or review anything. Without looking at her, Mark said it depends. Liz asked, it depends on what, Mark? At what time? You can only see documents during office hours, Mark said, adding that you would now be required to sign something for the protection of the document. In other words, now, not only are you not allowed to check up on Mark or the finances in town as a elected council person, but you'll have to sign a heads-up document letting Mark know that you are coming in during office hours and what you will be looking for. If Mark needed to put something back into the record room that he had secretly removed, or maybe, quote-unquote, adjust a receipt, something like that, he would now be able to do it. So who are these lucky check signers anyway? Well, there are only 4. 2 of them are Mayor Mark and Linda, who Mark largely sets her pay. Let's take those away. The other 2 are neighbors Clint Bishong and Darrell West, councilman. I recently video recorded a conversation between myself and those 2, and you're welcome to see it, where I asked them about Linda's compensation. They did not disclose her compensation, but Clint said he knew what it was, so it remains conjecture for some reason. But I did track Mark down and recorded that a couple weeks ago while he was on his golf cart, and he admitted it being about $85,000 range. It could be as much as $105,000 if you take into consideration that we pay our taxes, it looks like, according to the budget, some other murky budget snippets that Mark won't email me back to confirm. But after telling him that I believe there is fraud in Lakewood Village and Linda is paid to play, Clint said something amazing to me in front of Darrell and on video. He first asked me, do you know what Little Elm pays their secretary? I don't know what that has to do, why that matters. Elm is 80 times the size of Lakewood Village, and Little Elm secretary has a master's in public administration.
You're pretty far over time here. Just wrap it up.
I tell you what, I'll just finish it next time.
Okay, thank you. All right, so next up on the agenda, we have a public hearing. Public hearing is scheduled to provide an opportunity for citizen comment on the proposed ordinances related to the building codes. All right, public hearing is open. Linda, did anyone speak on the building codes? Nope. Okay. Any comments for anybody on the building codes? Okay.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Matt makes a motion to close the public hearing. Daryl's got the second. All those in favor? Thank you. All right, next up. Next up, we have the consent agenda. All items on the consent to be self-explanatory. We enact in one motion. We have the minutes. We have a resolution. We have to have an official newspaper. We do that every year. There's a professional services agreement with Corson Kramer. That is a new developer, and we've done that before with Land Plan and with other developers. Basically, that means they're going to pay for our legal services and engineering as we evaluate their development. P3 Works is our PID consultants. They help us with financing. We don't pay them. That gets paid out of the professional services agreement, so it doesn't cost the city anything. And then we have the reappointments of the MDD, so we have 3 people's terms are expiring. And they have all generously agreed to serve again. So that's the consent agenda. Any questions? Okay.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right, Dale's got the motion, and Eric has the second. All those in favor? All right, very good. Thank you. All right, next up on the regular agenda, we have consideration of the election of the Mayor Pro Tem. So I think everybody knows Daryl's been doing this, and I think, it's been working out well. I have no issues at all. I think it's been great. I think it's been helpful to have somebody else sitting on the meetings with the developers and share some of my experiences with these developers. But I think Daryl and I work great together. I think it's working. So, anybody?
Yeah, Daryl's been doing a great job. There's a little more responsibility with more Mayor Pro Tem, and he's done great. So thanks, Daryl.
You. I think it's all going good. So,
I make the motion. We have Mr. Hancock who signed up.
oh, okay, all right. Eric, you have a comment on choice of the mayor pro tem?
I'm gonna pass on that, guys.
Okay, all right. He said he'll pass. All right, so Serena's got the motion for Daryl. And Matt's got the second. All those in favor, vote for yourself. Okay. All right, good. All right. Very good. All right, next up we have the consideration of variance for 780 Cary Lane for front-facing garage. I think you guys have all seen this. One of the issues we have with cul-de-sacs are front-facing is a geometry problem. It's kind of hard on the tangents here. That if you go around the circle, you're pretty much going to see anything you want if you go down the circle. So typically our front-facing garages are more for non-cul-de-sac lots. It's like I say, usually on a cul-de-sac it's not a big deal because, like my house, you can, if you go around the circle from one direction, you won't see my garage. If you go around the other way, you will. And so I think this is just a technical thing. It's a big house, tucked in the back. No one's going to see it from the street. It's several 100 feet from the street, and I don't think it's an issue. But just out of an abundance of caution, we put it on the agenda so that they can get going. So, everybody have any questions about the? I think you see it. It's about a $2 million house. I think it's going to be beautiful. Yeah, you guys have seen the elevations on it, right? Yeah, I mean it's a heck of a house.
We have a speaker signed up for that.
Okay, all right. So there's a speaker. All right, Julie, are you there?
I am. Thank you.
Okay.
So I'd like to read a short statement by my husband Dion and myself. We have reviewed the plans for the house to be built at 780 Cary Lane. By the way, we live at 770 Cary Lane. And we understand a request for a variance for a forward-facing garage has been requested. Understanding that variance requests have been granted for this purpose in the past, for lots with restricted space and restricted elevations, we see no need for a variance on this particular property. Based on the plan dimensions, there is at least 51 feet on the east side of the house where the garages will be that will easily accommodate a side entry garage plus driveway. The existing code is there for a reason, and it should be respected. Forward-facing garages are unsightly, and they lend themselves to a degradation of the curb appeal of Lakewood Village. Since the availability of space on the lot at 780 Cary Lane will accommodate a side-facing garage, there is no need for this variance to be approved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Look, does anybody have any questions? All right. Like I say, I've already told you, I think from the city's perspective, we're good on cul-de-sacs. There's no really way you can, no good way to handle a cul-de-sac. Let's put it that way. It's much easier on a rectangular lot than, front-facing. Because front-facing, the definition, if you look in the zoning, is facing the street. Well, if you go around a circle, you're going to hit the street at some point. So that's why I don't have an issue with it. From the city side, we don't have an issue with it. So.
Okay, I make a motion. We approve.
I would like for someone.
Okay.
I would like for someone
motion
to show
to
me.
approve the variance.
Unmuted.
All right. Got a second? Eric's got the second. All those in favor? All right. Very good. Thank you. Clint?
I'm going to vote opposed on that.
Okay. Clint's opposed. Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Next up, we have the resolution nominating a candidate to the Demco 911 Board of Managers. Linda, that's on you, I believe.
There is a resolution in front of you for nomination, and we have two panels online who've been seeking your nomination. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank
Thank you very much for hearing me. I've appreciated your support before. I'm the vice chair of Demco 911, which is, I represent all 32 cities and towns in Denton County. Jim Carter, my board member, also represents all 32 towns. But his term is elected in even years, and mine is odd years. The only one thing I wanted to tell you is during the February freeze, the hard freeze, the city of Louisville lost its power. Its generator did not come back on for the police department, and they were not able, as a 911 call center, to receive calls or dispatch. That's huge. About 4 years ago, Demco 911 saved up $4 million and built an annex. We cannot sell bonds. We cannot have loans. The annex has 12 positions inside of it that call centers can use. It's hardened against tornadoes, fire, flood, freeze, and even bomb threats from terrorists. We were able, within 30 minutes, to move the call center for Louisville Police over to our annex, and they were once again taking 911 calls and dispatching. That is a huge saving of lives to have that kind of redundancy. We are lucky in Demco 911 to have one of the outstanding executive directors of 911 districts in the United States. Previously, he was the executive director for 9 counties out of Kansas City, Missouri. 2 million population he was responsible for. We were able to bring him to Denton County, 1 county, and 680,000 population that we serve. And the reason was he and his wife had once lived before in Denton County, and they considered it home, and they wanted to come home. He is also a past president of the National Emergency Member Association, NENA. So whenever Jim Carter or I go to the national conferences, everyone knows Denton County, their executive director, as a past NENA president. So in Denton County, we have the premier 911 organization in the state of Texas. So as vice chair, I've served 8 years, and I would really appreciate your nomination to serve another 2 years. Do you have any questions?
We appreciate what you've done. I mean, we know that, you guys got kind of tested pretty hard. You stressed the system pretty good this winter. And
well, our 10,000 square foot administration building had all kinds of pipes burst in the attic and flooded 90% of the building.
yeah.
But we had TML insurance, and so we only paid like $10,000 of the $100,000 of damage. But the hardened annex center went through beautifully.
Well, that's great. So, okay. So then what we,
You have a resolution, a one-page resolution in front of you. If you would like to nominate me, the council needs to move and approve it.
oh, yeah, the resolution. Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out, what our physical step was. Okay.
Well, Ms. Ashbell would send that one page after you and she sign it and date it into Demco 911.
I'm sure our vote will put you right over the top, or I think our one vote or something.
I appreciate your vote.
Well, we appreciate everything you guys have done. So I think we're ready. Daryl?
We make a resolution nominating Sue Tamel.
So we have a motion to approve the resolution nominating Sue for the 911. Matt, is that the second? All those in favor? Aye, everybody's good? All right, well, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you for letting me come remotely.
Okay.
Good luck with the rest of this long agenda.
Oh, no problem. We'll slog our way through it.
Okay.
Alrighty, next up, we have consideration of hiring part-time utility building department clerk. So, several months ago, we brought Shannon online to basically work with the back office. When we had the leak, we had to move a lot of files, and the decision was made to digitize all of our house files. So all 250 house files, and basically get away from the paper that we have in the back office. So Shannon has been doing that in the interim. Clint redid the building site with that new software with the big, all the automation in the site and all the tracking. It's really phenomenal. And Shannon has been handling that building stuff as well. So that's been going well. She's recently switched over and started handling the data entry on the water billing. So under our financial controls ordinance, I'm allowed to have part-time workers for a period of time, but then we have to pull the trigger and either make them, you guys have to vote on it. I guess that's what I'm saying. I can only hire part-time people for so long before you have to basically ratify that. And so that's kind of what this is. Shannon's doing a great job. Everything's digital now. I mean, we got the office now. I think there's a stack of folders probably up to Clint's waist that we had in the file cabinet of all the manila folders. We used to store hard copies of everything. It's just really been running really well. So, and as you know, summer is no longer utility clerk, so Shannon picked that up. So basically, that's what this is. This is just continuing to do what she's been doing for 3 months, but you guys ratifying that she'll now be a part-time employee. Anybody have any questions?
I make a motion to approve the hiring of a part-time employee.
Okay, so we have the motion to approve the hiring. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Second was Darrell. All those in favor? Okay, and Clint did not participate. Yeah, Clint did not participate in the discussion nor the vote, obviously. All right. Next up, consideration of interlocal agreement with the town of Wilhelm for fire and EMS services. I think you guys have seen this in there. Our 5-year contract ended 5 years ago. So it was quite logical to get a new contract. I met with the fire chief. We had several very productive meetings and went back and forth a few times. Basically, our fire and EMS contract is, it pretty much is parroting the county. This template is what the county pays Little Elm to do the unincorporated areas, like across the street or Rocky Point. Little Elm gets paid by the county through the county taxes. So we just use the same contract. It's similar to what we did 10 years ago. And basically what it's going to do is the fixed sum, the readiness fee is $25,000. The run, we used to pay $550 10 years ago. So we upped it to $700. And then I also agreed that something that I put in the contract, which is that in order to make sure everybody's comfortable with the fact that we're basically a marginal user, they get a couple thousand runs and we get 30, right? So we're just a marginal user. Was that if we ever go over 50, and we average about 30. If we ever go over to 50 runs, then we'll pay $1,000 for everything over 50, just to make sure there's a disincentive. I will tell you, one of the things that came up during our conversations was Little Elm is changing their policy on lockouts. Before, when you locked your keys in the car, we had people calling the fire department here. And we were paying $550 for people to get their keys out of the car. Now, instead of calling AAA, they call the fire department. Well, obviously, they don't like doing that. And I don't like writing a check for $550 from the city for doing that. But the problem was, Little Elm's policy at the time was they went for lockouts. And so when we called If we call 911, they can't go through a menu to say, do we dispatch? Well, let's see. Check box A. Well, is it greater than 7? No. So it's either all or nothing. So if we call and say, help, they dispatch. So they didn't want the dispatch people to really have discretion, to have to worry about which, if it's Oak Point, it's this rules and that. But they've now changed. So they will come now for a lock-in. So if there's a child or a pet or something locked in, then they will come. But if it's a lockout, they're not going to come anymore. Which is good, because we were going to have to pass an ordinance to lock them out. Or to
I have Chief Rust on the phone.
Oh.
If you want to ask him any questions.
Oh, Chief, are you there?
Hey, I'm here. I'm sorry, I was having a little trouble with the Zoom link. I couldn't get it to work, so.
No problem. I was just explaining to them a little bit about the lock-in versus lock-out.
Sure.
You want to pick up on that?
So we consider, when we do a report every time we respond to a call, we have to follow these national call types and put in these corresponding codes and numbers. And when you read an article in the paper or you see something that talks about the number of fire fatalities or the number of fires, it all comes from that standardized reporting, which is called INFIR, N-I-F-I-R-S. And so INFIR says that if we respond to a call and there's like a child in the vehicle or someone who's not able to get themselves out of the vehicle, that's an emergency situation. That's considered a lock-in, and we treat those as an emergency and run the lights and sirens and everything. A lockout is simply, I left my keys in the car. And so those are really non-emergency situations.
And are you going to respond to lockouts now? I think we talked that you were going to maybe change that policy.
Yeah, so that's not just for y'all, but just as a department, our policy of, what we would like to do is, the way we would handle that is when someone calls 911, then the call taker at the 911 center would ask the questions, and if it's just a lockout situation, they would refer them to a locksmith. But what we would do is, there are those, exigent type circumstances where, I'm not going to tell my people that they're in a violation of our policy if they perform that service for someone like that. Because certainly, if the guys are out and about and they're at the grocery store getting groceries or something, and there's someone that's needing help, we can certainly accommodate them. We're just trying to, it's not the most efficient way. It's rather expensive, probably, to send, a fire truck with, firefighters when you could call AAA or somebody to come do it for you, So, but we would certainly give our folks, our supervisors the discretion to say, hey, if you come up on one of these, just do the service, but we're going to try to hit it off through dispatch and reroute them.
Sure. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I think when we were smaller and we weren't nearly as busy, it was a good PR thing to go out there and do. But as we've gotten busier through the years and we've grown and it's got to the point that we kind of have to evaluate whether that's really, needed any longer. So that's kind of the decision making or the thinking behind that decision. So.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for the chief?
No questions. Appreciate everything you guys do.
You bet. Again, sorry to join late. So, if y'all need anything, have anything else, feel free to contact me or email me. Mark has my contact information. And if I can be of any assistance, please let me know. And looking forward to when we can get back to normal. And I would love to come in person to one of these meetings and meet everybody. So, y'all just let me know when we're back to normal. Be glad to be there with you. So,
thank you very much, Chief.
You bet. Y'all have a good evening.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Bye.
Okay. So, everybody on board?
Make a motion to approve the interlocal agreement with the town of Little Rock Fire EMS.
Serena has the motion to approve the interlocal agreement. I'll second. Matt's got the second. All those in favor? Very good. Thank you, guys. All right, so we'll send that off to Little Elm. already gone through it and drawn it up and made some changes. So I think we'll send it on to them. All right, next up is consideration of consolidated fee ordinance. That's Mr. Quinn.
So what generated the start of taking a look at this was actually the acquisition of the last resort water system. So we had to put their fee schedule in there because as we take that over, we can't change the fees. So we had to.
Are you going to drive it or
we can. It's up to you. I think everybody's got a problem, right?
I'm going to move the phone closer to you so you may do it better. Everybody got it.
So, as I was saying, because of the acquisition of the last resort's water system, we can't change the rates. We have to actually segregate them out and document them. So, while we had the document open, we went ahead and kind of scrubbed through it, make sure it was up to date and change, make some updates where needed. Section 1, the residential building permit. Mark discussed, a little bit about the changes to the building site, and so one of the things that we're doing is that we're just kind of documenting. There's more and more houses doing propane, so now we've included gas if it's applicable as part of one of the standard inspections. We're also trying to streamline the process a little bit by doing what we're kind of referring to as an umbrella project. So a lot of times builders will come in, they'll start the house, they'll get about 2/3 of the way and say, hey, I want to put in sprinklers. In the past, we've done a separate permit, then it gets mixed in at the end. Did you get your sprinklers done? The CO. So as long as it meets the certain conditions that the contractor, CO hasn't been issued, we just kind of want to bundle all this together, make it easier for the building inspector, make it easier for the paperwork coming through. And we're finding so far with a couple that we've kind of test drive, experimented with, that it's run much smoother.
Let me jump in for a second. So part of kind of the conceptual hope is that when a building job starts, it comes into the office, and on the financial side, we get the building permit. In a perfect world, we're done on the financial side. We don't have anybody dribbling in, oh, I want to put a fence now. Oh, that's another permit. Oh, we want to do, we want to move a wall. That's a restamp. We don't want to do more transactions on the finance. We want to have like one and done. Then it goes through the wall to the other side of the room, and that's the building side. That's the inspectors and passing and failing and making the thing safe. But we're really trying to bifurcate the office so that Linda's not involved with tracking that the guy paid for that, oddball inspection, so that's really kind of logically how we're trying to set up, and the umbrella is just a nicer way to keep Linda out of the loop. Once we've got your money and we've approved the house build, then it's up to the building inspector to do any of the ancillary kinds of things. So.
And it makes it easier for, as Mark's saying, to the building inspector. Just the builder has one contact front office, Linda, when I got to make a payment, anything like that. Any building question, don't bother calling Linda. So